Hi, it's me, Vicky Marie. And I'm so sorry, I don't know what's happened with the time. I set the time for the broadcast for 6, but whether it's because I'm traveling around and maybe my computer, do you know what? I just don't even know with this computer anything anymore. I hate it. I hate it. So I can't wait. One thing I have missed about being in Spain is my fantastic computer. And I hadn't realised how good the new computer, this reconditioned one that I got, I didn't realise how good it was till I had to go back to this piece of crap. Sorry. Apologies for the language. So anyway, thank you for being patient. I know some of you had a look back through the chat. Some people have probably gone off and hopefully will come back. Ooh, so I'm going to say hello to everyone. So hello, Kate. Good morning from the Cook Islands. Hello, Phyllis. Hello, Jackie. Hello, Joanne. Let me go back up. Shelley, hi. And Shelley, you're in Canada, aren't you? I think you're in Canada. We're going to look at Canada tonight. You will know about this case, I expect. David was there. I don't know if he's still there. Heather. I don't know if Heather's come back. Maybe she hasn't come back yet, but I'll see. Oh, I can see I've caused a lot of consternation with people, but it's nice that you all had a chat between yourself and came to the right conclusion. Hi, Charlie, if you're still there. Yeah, because you know I am normally on time. I try my best. If I'm not on time, I would normally put a message to say, I didn't even realise. Hi, Bad Fairy, you've lost 2 fairies. I'm not sure what you mean by you've lost 2 fairies. Is it because I was late or... Hi, Joe H. You might have come back by now. Joanne Martin has come back. Hi, Princess Tippy Toes. You may have come back by now. So, okay. So, yeah, I can see there's quite a lot of you on there earlier, all having a little chat between yourselves and trying to work out where I was, you know, because I am normally on time. So that's the thing. When you're normally punctual, then you do get missed when you're not. No, it's my fault. Well, I don't even know if it's my fault, to be fair. I think it's the computer's fault. But hi, you're all here. We're all here now. Hopefully more people probably have gone off and they'll come back. So what I'm going to do while we're just waiting until 6, or you know, I can go through the things that I want to go through, you know, the boring things, if you like, or not boring, like the housekeeping. It's not boring, but you know, maybe it is boring for those of you that have already, you know, seen it so many times. So if you have and you want to go and get yourself another cup of tea or a coffee or a chocolate biscuit or whatever it is you're having while you're listening, you've got time to do that, okay? Because I'm going to do the housekeeping. So as you know, the most important thing you can do for me, which you all do, which is brilliant, is like the video. Well, really the first thing is watching the video in the first place, isn't it? Then liking, subscribing if you haven't already subscribed, sharing if you think you know anybody who might be interested in the video. These are the 3 fundamental ways you can help support my channel, and I appreciate, and commenting, of course, commenting, sending me messages, send me emails and things. So I check my emails every morning. So you know, if you sent me an email right now, I won't check it till tomorrow morning, just to let you know that. But every day I check my emails and I always try and respond. And I am always overwhelmed by the amount of emails I get, especially like when I just had like 2 or 3 days off and people were worrying about me. It's so nice. So those are the fundamental 3 ways you can help my channel. Then, of course, if you want to go a little bit further, you can become a member. If you're a member, you get, there are some extra videos, extra photos. You get advance warning of where I'm going for my mystery location, which, of course, I'm going on a mystery location quite soon. And I will be letting the members know first. I go to the scene of a famous crime, like when I went to where Maddie McCann had been, had disappeared from, let's say. and do some lives and some videos from there. I'm going to another place very soon, let's say. And the members always get to know where it is first. So that's memberships. Memberships are €1. I think they're €1, not pounds. €1.99 a month, and you can cancel them at any time. So you don't not signing up for a year, or literally you can cancel them at any time. Also, sometimes people, they send me super chats, super stickers, super thanks. They're one-off donations, if you like. Just say thanks, maybe for a video, etc. And they're great, and everything is appreciated, and no times are hard. And anyone sending me whatever they send me, I appreciate that so much, because that all goes towards update. The next thing is a laptop. Hi Rachel, hi the 411, hi Pauline. I'm on your big screen. Oh no, that's not very forgiving, is it? It's better on a mobile. Oh, tea and digestive biscuits sounds nice, but I do like chocolate ones, but I don't mind, to be honest. Any biscuits are good, aren't they? So yeah, so that's membership, super chat. And you can buy me a coffee on Ko-fi.com, which I suppose I can put up there. I will put it up there. I can put the memberships up there, or put nothing. Anyway, it's up to you. I'm not, I appreciate anything. The best way you can help is free. Then liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and commenting, etc. So just before we start, I just want to read out a message that I received. And it's a comment, so I don't think it's private, because it wasn't like a private message somebody sent me, or in an email, etc. So I'm sure they won't mind me reading it out. But Pauline, is what through PayPal or on? I think the Ko-fi one is a PayPal. I think they're all PayPal, are they? I don't. The answer to that, to be quite frank, is I don't really know, because I think when you join if you join as a member for the $1.99 a month, that you can do by card. I think the Ko-fi is PayPal, but I think there's probably a facility for card. I'm not really, to be perfectly honest, I'm not really quite sure, but I can find out another time for you. So yes, this lady, one of my subscribers, who quite often comments on my channel, and she sent me, she wrote a comment tonight, and I don't think it will be private, because otherwise it wouldn't have been done as a comment. It would have been sent as an email. Well, I want to read it out to you all, because I want us to spend just, well, I certainly will be, just send some prayers and some love out to this subscriber, because I think her name is Julie, but I can't swear to that. Yes, Julie, yeah. And I wanted to read you the message out so that we can all be thinking about her. So she said publicly, so I don't think I'm betraying any confidence. Hi, Vicky Marie. My dad is dying, unfortunately. And so I'm so glad you're there to relax me before I spend the evening at his bedside. And I won't say which hospital it is, but she does tell me where the hospital is. I mean, it is on the public comment. My older brother was born there, ironically. It's so hard not to look upset in front of Dad, with me having red hair, because she's got red hair. All the extra white powder I'm having to reapply, because she's obviously getting upset. I look like Elizabeth I. Bless. Anyway, thanks for being there. It means a great deal. Julie and Jimmy the cat. So she said, you're there to relax me before. So that's it. And I count us all in that. We're all there to relax her. She's got a hard road to go down, but she'll be there for her dad. And I think a lot of us have been in that situation where we've had to be there for someone, and anything that can help us be strong for them, because obviously you can't just melt down. You've got to be strong for them, haven't you? So it's difficult. I know it's difficult. So I'd just like to say, send some prayers out to Julie, and some prayers to your dad, some healing prayers to your dad. I'm very sorry to hear that, and I just would like to send you the strength to get through that. And we cheer ourselves up by talking about some serial killers, won't we? You know, it's mad, isn't it, really? But there's something relaxing about true crime and serial killers and stuff like that. It's crazy. But we're not the only ones. I've been talking about this a lot lately. Many people, what is it? Is it this fascination that we just have with with human nature? You know, there's something about, we're intrigued, aren't we? We can't help it. It's got to be human nature. I mean, now we can look at these things on social media, but years ago, would you buy those penny dreadfuls, magazines and things, you know, that you'd read about things, and you know, and years before that, everyone would be sort of, you know, round the square for a public hanging or what. There's something about human beings, they've got a morbid fascination with things, and that is just the way we are. So there's a bit of reason for it. Be interesting to look into that and see what is the reason for it. Someone on here might know. You know, somebody on here might know the psychology of it if they've actually studied anything like that. Hi Angela B, hi Mia. Yes, let's send them some prayers out. Hi Ruth. Hi Rachel. Oh, it's been that you've been there. It's been very difficult. Hi Joanne Martin, etc. Yeah. So you know what? We can't think. There's some things in life we can't change. We just have to cope with it, don't we? But it does help to know that people are thinking of you and supporting you, etc. And just being on your side. Sometimes some things you can't fix. Unfortunately, they just can't be fixed. And that's why we have to appreciate every little thing that we have that can be fixed and can be sorted, don't we? Okay, so that's it. So that's we're ready to start. Yeah, I think that's a good thing to say. All we should say, look, all of us have lost people. There won't be anybody out there who hasn't lost someone special to them, at least one. And you know, so yeah, this is prayers for all of them, and love especially tonight to Julie because of what she's facing. So we're going to talk about Paul Bernado and Karla Homolka. Now, hi Mia. I don't know if you've heard of them. If you're not from Canada, some of you may have heard of them and some of you may not have heard of them. But this is a couple. You know, remember last week we looked at the Moors murderers. These are especially intriguing, aren't they, when it's a couple? You know, a man and a woman, and you know, who is the stronger, who's the most evil person? You know, I was talking last week about how we think of women often as double deviants because we don't expect women to do bad things, and we certainly don't expect them to murder children. You know, it's like it seems worse somehow, doesn't it, because they're a woman. And they're supposed to be nurturing, or we think of them as nurturing, etc. And this is a case really very similar. And this particular couple, I'm going to show you some photos of them in a minute, and you'll see, you've probably seen the thumbnail. They were called the Ken and Barbie killers because they're so attractive. You know, they're like very attractive young couple. You see photos of them, you would not think in a million years. I mean, not unlike Kinley and Bradley, not unlike their age, you know, similar age, young, you know, 20s. And you know, I think you know, Myra Hindley did sort of look quite evil, didn't she? But Ian Brady, he was a handsome guy. You know, where do these people go wrong? I don't know. And people who seem to have, there weren't people who came from deprived backgrounds, these Ken and Barbie killers. You know, they had, you know, quite nice lives to all intents and purposes. And then I think what has to happen, so there's a couple of things. So they've both obviously got some sort of psychopathic tendencies. But then when they meet, you know, there's probably lots of sort of psychopaths out there, but when they actually meet up and start a relationship, you've got this double dose of psychopathy, haven't you? sometimes you wonder, would it have, in this particular case, the guy, Paul Bernado, he was already committing crimes, but not murder, or not as far as we know. He was violating women, and he had been for quite some time in Scarborough, Ontario, or Ontario. Sometimes I pronounce things in the Spanish way. I have to excuse myself. Sometimes the Spanish pronunciation comes out. Sometimes I'm sure you've noticed, and people who have commented on, sometimes Spanish spelling comes out in the things that I say. Because the trouble is, once you learn 2 languages, I used to be really good at spelling. Now my spelling's gone to pot in both languages because I sort of get them confused. That's it. Folie à deux. Madness shared by 2. And it's quite common, you know. Now, but yeah, you know, I just don't believe it, because I don't care how much I was in love with someone. Someone that I was in love with comes to me and says, well, wait till you hear this story, and you tell me if this happened to you, if you're a woman or a man, and your partner came to you and said they wanted to do this particular thing, that you would go along with it no matter how much you're in love with them. So let's have a look at some photos. First of all, I think we'll have a look at them so that we can see, so you can see literally why they would be called the Ken and Barbie killers. Because, you know, with respect, Fred West and Rose West weren't exactly the most glamorous couple, were they? You know, even I think Brady was a handsome guy. Myra Hindley, I suppose she was attractive, but she was very hard looking. But not this couple, I'm afraid. Let's see. Let me find some pictures. So touch wood. So I just want to say, I hope the computer works okay. If it suddenly cuts off, I will be back. It just sometimes, it could have been the internet, and I think I've got that sorted now, but we'll see. Right, have we got a picture of them up there now? Looks like it's going a bit. I think you can see the, hopefully. Okay, so here we go. Here they are when they got married. Very handsome guy, very attractive girl. Here they are together. All the pictures as you go down, you know, you just would not. Just shows you how deceptive appearances are, aren't they? Because you'd look at them and think, you know, very attractive young couple, happy, smiley, having a good time. Your typical young couple. You know, you wouldn't think there was supposedly some domestic violence went on. This is Karla with 2 black eyes. I mean, he was definitely the worst, I think. But I'm sorry, I still think there is no way on earth that a man could make me do the things that they did. Yeah. Okay, so you can see it because it's not coming up on my screen. I hate this computer. I'm gonna, you know, when I finally get a new computer, I'm going to just throw this out the window. I'll enjoy it, you know. But yeah, very young. In fact, I'm trying to think how young they would have been next when they first got together. Let me see, what year was it? Well, we'll tell the story and you'll see that. Now, so I'm going to carry on telling the story now. And then when I want to show you a picture on there, I will go to that picture. So I'm going to talk first about Karla. So Karla Homolka, very attractive woman, as you can see. And she was a veterinary nurse. That was her profession. And she was born on the 4th of May, 1970 in Ontario. So she'd only be 53 now. So she's still young and she's out. She's been out for a long time. So bear that in mind when you learn about the things that she did. She only served 11 years in prison. She was unconditionally released on July the 4th, 2005. Okay, and she now has 3 children. She married the brother of her lawyer, and she now has 3 children. And not long ago, there was a big outcry because she was volunteering at a school as like a teacher's assistant. Now, imagine you finding out, well, I've got to tell the story first because you don't know what she's done yet. Anyway, so now, to all intents and purposes, she was pretty normal until she met him. And she met him in, what year was it? I think it was 1997. Sorry, 1987, that she met up with Paul Bernado. They met at a conference. She was at a veterinary conference and not sure what he was doing there, but they met, and apparently it was sparks, complete sparks. They just, from that day on, that's it. They were all over each other. They look, you know, they were obsessed with each other. And but what she maybe didn't know, or maybe he told her, I don't know, because it seems like their romantic life, let's say, their physical romantic life, you know, was very passionate, etc. And I think he must have told her about these things because he was already an offender. He was already a serious offender. You know, he'd committed many violations and attempted violations. But as far as we know, before he met Karla, he had not actually, you know, sent anyone to the next world. It was then when they got together that everything escalated for him. Now, as far as I know, she had no crimes beforehand. You know, she'd not been involved in anything. She'd had a couple of boyfriends, and this was a big thing for him because he was resentful that he hadn't been her first boyfriend. You know, he was really resentful of that because he liked young girls, and he liked to think that he had taken, you know, he'd been the first one. And so that was always a thing that he resented, that he'd not had that opportunity with her because she had already had a relationship with somebody else. Anyway, so they met in 1987 and things started. He carried on doing these violations. Whether she knew about it, I don't know, but he was attacking women in Scarborough in Ontario, and he came close to being caught a couple of times. There was an e-fit going around. I don't know if the e-fit's here somewhere. He was the spit of the e-fit, and somebody reported him. Let's see if I can find that e-fit. I thought it came up earlier, maybe not. Somebody reported him as being very like the e-fit, and he was interviewed, etc. But the police believed him, you know, because he had no DNA yet. You know, it wasn't until later when they actually got DNA. No, I can't see the picture of the e-fit, but it was, you know, the spit of him. It could have been a photo of him. It would look so much like him. But I think because he was a young, white, blonde, came from a good family, etc., I think the police sort of skated over him. You know, the police do have preconceived ideas of what murderers look like, or rapists, you know, and this is what they look like: normal people, handsome, beautiful, you know. There's no set way that a murderer looks, you know. They can look like anything. So yeah, so they met. Anyway, their crimes together, as far as we know, because there may have been other crimes that they'd committed together that we just don't know about, I suppose. Their crimes together started in 1990. Because what happened was he had to move in. He moved in with her family, and they all got on very well. Her family thought the world of him, her mum and dad. She had a young sister who was, I think she was 14 or 15. And of course, you know, looking back now, that was just a red flag, wasn't it? That was a disaster waiting to happen, a man like that. And this was her sister. I don't know if you can see this. Let me just check that you're seeing this. Can do you see the picture of can you see the picture of the young girl? See, I can't see what's coming up with my computer's not working. Oh yeah, you can see her there. So the third picture along there, the blonde girl, the young blonde girl, that is Karla's sister Tammy, and she was 14 or 15. And Paul Bernado started to become obsessed with her because she had not had any relationships with any other men, and his obsession was about Karla. The one thing he hated about Karla was that he had not been the first boyfriend, and he developed an obsession with Tammy, and he must have known, been satisfied that Karla wouldn't mind him talking about that, because he did. He told her how he felt about Tammy and that he wanted to, be the first. And they made one attempt, first of all, where they tried to drug her. They gave her a spaghetti dinner spiked with Valium, which she had stolen from the veterinary surgery where she worked, because don't forget, she could lay her hands on drugs because she was a veterinary nurse, or she worked at a veterinary surgery anyway. And they laced her spaghetti with Valium, and she passed out, and he started assaulting her, but she woke up within a minute or something. So he had to abandon that. She didn't know what was going on. She didn't remember what had gone on, but they had to abandon that attempt. And then later on that same year, on December the 23rd, they had a Christmas party at the home, the family Christmas party. And she said later she wanted to give him Tammy's virginity, basically, as a Christmas present. So what she did this time is she'd stolen horse tranquilizer from the veterinary surgery, which they gave Tammy after this Christmas party. While the parents were in the house in bed upstairs. I mean, I just think, my God, it's just like beyond belief, isn't it? You feel, oh, even just don't take her off somewhere, like I don't know, just then the parents are upstairs. Anyway, so they drugged her, and this time they both violated her. And we know this for a fact because later on the videotapes were found. They both violated her, videotaped it, and unfortunately Tammy started to be sick, and she actually died because she choked on her own vomit. I don't think they intended to kill her, but to be honest, it was bad enough what they were doing anyway. And they they hid evidence. They did try CPR on her. They did phone the 911, 911 or whatever it is. They phoned the emergency services, but before they did that, they dressed her because she was nude. She had friction burns. All this was noticed at the time, but it's the usual thing, isn't it, with the police? They're just thinking, this is a young girl. It's Christmas. She's had too much to drink. She's thrown up while she's asleep and choked on her own vomit. Because they dressed her by then, cleaned up the house. They've come into a respectable middle-class home with these two beautiful people, and the mum and dad were probably supporting them as well, worrying about them. And I can imagine that poor mum and dad. I mean, and at Christmas, and I mean, it must have been awful. And so it was decided she died of natural causes. There was an inquest, and she died of natural causes, which she did, to be fair, I suppose, but no suspicious circumstances. So that was Tammy. And after that, they then left the house. I'm just going to remove that for a moment and see if my no, nothing's coming up now. Anyway, so I can't see the pitch, but anyway, yeah. So they then moved out of the parents' house because they said they were going to give the parents time to grieve. So you know, we'll see. Well, we won't see, but make what you want out of it. Did they feel guilty? I wonder. I don't think they did. If you look into it like proper, like go into all the different, you know, obviously I'm giving you the resume of the case. It's not really a deep dive when I do a live. But if you go into, I don't think they were sorry. You know, he got what he wanted, and that was great. And she didn't care. She participated in it, and that was her own sister. So really, it didn't bode well for the victims to come, did it? If she didn't even care about her own sister. So that was Tammy, bless her. And that really just started them off. So that was 1990, I think, wasn't it? Mm. So what happened for quite a long time? You know, he was a sadist. He was a sadist. So to him, that's how he enjoyed. You know, it was part. So I think they sort of there are some tapes of them fireside chats or some, gosh, a bit like Vicky Marie chats, but there are some videos of them chatting about it, and that would be what it would get him going. You know, that's what turned him on. So that probably kept him going for a while, the videos and talking about it. So it wasn't until June the 7th, 1991. Their next victim, who did in fact survive, she invited a 15-year-old girl who she knew to the house, and they drugged and raped her, etc., and filmed it, but she did survive. She nearly died the same way as Tammy, but they did resuscitate her, and she did survive. She's not named. She's not named. That they call her Jane Doe when you read about it, so her identity has never been revealed. So the next one was Leslie Mahaffey. I haven't written the year down, but so I expect it was about a year later, because they only operate. Luckily, they were caught within 2 years. So, you know, it didn't go on for 10, 15 years or whatever, you know, because that would have been, obviously, goodness, there could have been so many victims, but they were caught within 2 years. And, well, as far as we know, there are only the 3 victims, one of which was a sister. So the next one who unfortunately did not survive was Leslie Mahaffey. And Karla was just at home one day, and then he knocked on the door or came in and said he's got a victim outside in the car. He'd just like opportunely seen a girl and got talking to her, after a cigarette and this, that, and the next minute he bundled into the car. But it was spontaneous. It wasn't a planned attack. But I think he probably spent a lot of his time driving around looking for girls to attack. And I'm just thinking, you know, if you're a woman and you sat at home and you're watching the telly, and the next minute your partner comes in, or your husband, they were married by then, your husband comes in and says, oh, I've picked up a victim. You know, I just can't get my head around these conversations that people have. It's like, oh, I've got a girl in the car outside. Oh, shall we, you know, drug her and rape her and kill her? Like, it's just like, I just can't visualize those sort of conversations. Anyway, so they took her home, and unfortunately they did violate her, and they videoed it again. You know, this was their modus operandi. Now, as far as actually murdering her, Bernado claimed that Homolka poisoned her, whereas Homolka claimed that Bernado strangled her. Well, I expect it was a combination of the two, to be honest. I wouldn't separate those two, so one was more guilty than the other. You know, they're as guilty as each other. They then, I mean, I don't like to go into detail, as you know, but they did unfortunately dismember her and encase her in concrete blocks and hide her body all over the place. And she wasn't found for quite a long time. Anyway, so that was the second victim, because Tammy, the sister, was the first victim. And the next victim was Kirsten French, and they abducted her together. I'm going to show you a photo in a moment of the victims. Homolka got out of the car with a map and asked her, you know, directions somewhere. And as she did that, Bernado sort of came up behind her and bundled her into the car. So they did it together. They did it together. Why Homolka was allowed to only serve 11 years. So now you see what I was 11 years. We've not even got to the end of it yet of what she did. 11 years. Anyway, so when she was found, she had been washed, her hair had been shaven off, she was nude, and again, Homolka and Bernado each blamed each other for the actual murder. You know, they sort of acknowledged that they both did the violation, etc., and the abduction, but they blamed each other for the murder. And she was, it was DNA that sort of linked them. He'd had, because of his activities as a scout, because during this time, you know, he was doing these violations, etc., and he was on the camera, on the radar as a rapist. So there was the 3 victims finally, which is bad enough, but it could have been a lot worse, couldn't it, if it would have carried on. So thankfully, that was the last victim. Bernado, he was born on August the 27th, 1964. He's only 58 now, so they're still young now, aren't they? I mean, they are. And he received a life imprisonment sentence. However, only with a minimum of 25 years. So for killing 3 people and all those violations, is it nearly 20 different cases of either attempted rape or rape. And but he was given a life sentence with a minimum sentence of 25 years. However, in 1995, he was officially declared as a dangerous offender, which I think, once you're declared as a dangerous offender in Canada, anybody, I think Shelley's from Canada might be able to confirm that for me, but once you're declared a dangerous offender, then you're unlikely to be released. Not impossible to release. And bearing in mind, he's only 58. So if he was even released when he was 65, he still may have got 20 years of freedom or whatever for what he's done. He just should never be released. He should never be released. So let's have a look at some of the victims, actually, because I do like to show you the victims. What's that? Stop screen. Hang on. Right. Present. Share screen. We'll go back to that. Let's go back. So we saw this is poor Tammy. This is Karla, not now, but more recently. This is her more recently. Gosh, when you look at, like you say, it's so young, aren't they? On this picture here, with the 2 of them, all young and smiling, when they got married, and they were doing things then. You know, they were already doing things then. It's awful, isn't it, really, that they were already doing things then when they were so young. This is when they got arrested. This picture here of him and her. Now, notice what she's got on. Let me just check that you can see this. See the blouse she's got on? Yeah, you can see him. And then she's got a blouse on looking like a school teacher, because it was funny when Holly Willoughby came on to do that statement and she had like the prissy school teacher's blouse on, you know, trying to look really sensible and butter wouldn't melt. And this is what Karla did when she first got arrested. So this is how she got away with only serving 11 years, because she said she'd been in a situation of domestic abuse. She was terrified of him, which maybe she was, but I don't think she was that terrified of him. Why didn't she leave him after, you know, after that happened with her sister? But she participated perfectly willingly and all that. But you can see, so every time she appeared in court or any time, and again, looking very beautiful, but always with like a school mom type blouse on, all buttoned up to the neck, you know, like trying to look like butter wouldn't melt. So these are the two victims, the poor girls. This is Kirsten with the reddish hair on the right. And the other girl, of course, was Leslie Maffey. Oh gosh, my computer's. Yeah. But very fortunate that they didn't kill any more, I think. But now at the other end, you can see down here, this is him now. He's lost his hair. He's not as handsome. He's still quite handsome, really, but he's bald, that's all. I mean, he's lost his hair, but he's still... So I don't know exactly what year that was taken, but that's probably one of the most recent photos of him. These, again, are the pictures of Karla at one time when she said he beat her up, which he probably did beat her up. But then, you know, it's still not an excuse, is it, to do the things that they did, that she did. But this, when she got married, it's so unbelievable, really, isn't it? Just shows you. Oh, that's that e-fit. This was the e-fit of the Scarborough rapist. And you can see it looks just like him with the hair coming down here. You know, he should have been caught before because of that, and he only got away with that, even though he was sort of questioned, interviewed. People said they suspected it was him. Look at this picture with the hair coming down, so like the picture of the Scarborough rapist. There, yeah. So what she did, how she got away with it, was she said that she was a victim of domestic violence, and she said she would give any evidence they wanted her to give for a plea deal. So that was her plea deal, to get a lighter sentence. And the police basically sort of fucked up, if you like. And yes, you're right, David. He hadn't murdered anyone either until he teamed up with her. So whether, you know, I personally think those victims that he picked up and he took back to the house, obviously I think his sister, they didn't mean to kill her, but they did mean to kill the other two. And from what I can gather from what I've read, they started, he would say she was a little bit jealous of these girls in the end, because the girls start to show signs of that Stockholm syndrome or whatever, and just saying anything to escape with their lives. And apparently, I think she got a little bit jealous of it, and so she's not going to she's not going to want a rival. She don't mind someone being there for the weekend, that like for a bit of fun or whatever. She ain't going to want someone there all the time. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was her that actually murdered them. He says it was. Well, that they both did things, he strangled them, but he says that she battered them over something or gave them tranquilizers. Well, she had history in that, didn't she? So, but she told the police, oh, it's domestic violence situation. I'll tell you everything you want to know if you give me a lighter sentence. And the police, being stupid like they are sometimes, they signed this plea deal before they had all the evidence. So they signed the plea deal to say that she could have a lighter sentence. And then it was afterwards that they found the videos. And then they found the videos, and it showed clearly that she was not an unwilling participant. In fact, if anything, she was a willing participant, and she violated the girls just as much as he did. And she wasn't being forced into doing it. She was doing it voluntarily and loving every minute of it. And the videos that they had of the three girls, hi Maltese, yeah, but they, I don't care how. I know it'd be difficult, and I do think you know, you'd have to wait. But he left her on her own. I mean, she wasn't locked in the house where she couldn't go out. As soon as he would have gone out, if that was me and I'd been forced to do it, but she wasn't forced to do it because the video showed that she was enjoying every minute of it. But then let's presume that she was being forced into doing it. Then the first day he went out to work, I'd be down the police station with the video. Of course you would be. That's what happened with the Morse murderers. That's how he got caught, wasn't it? The guy had to join in with the disposing of the body of Edward Evans. But as soon as he got out of there, he was straight down the police, you know. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there were videos, Charlie, very graphic videos. Yeah, everything was recorded. But they didn't find the videos until they'd already signed the plea agreement, the plea deal. Yeah. So, as you say, Joanne, how could they allow her to work? Well, she's probably got a secret identity now. You know, I don't know. I mean, because we do well. You know, Jackie, we don't know what she's doing. Maxine Carr, she's out. What she could be working in a school. She's got secret identity. She's had two, hasn't she? Because they found out of the first one. So she could be working in a school. She's got children now. Who knows what she's doing to those children? You just don't know. But she could be working in a school where those people, you know, the people that have employed her, the parents. Well, she will be. She could be working in a school where the parents have no idea who's teaching their children. So it's a bit of a sobering thought, isn't it, really, that? So she served her 11 years. She divorced him while he was in prison. She then married the brother of her lawyer. And I think we've got a picture of her when she was outside the school, actually. Let's have a look for it. So when the parents, I don't know how the parents did find out, but they did. Could you imagine? Do you imagine what would you do? That's your child at that school, and she's you would not be very happy, would you? So yeah, I've got a picture from the good old Sun, horrible newspaper, but there she was outside the school. So she was pictured outside a primary school in Montreal where she has volunteered. Yeah. But, and, you know, why would she? I mean, because surely she would know that if people found out, it's not good. I mean, she's got 3 children now. How would she feel about her children going to a school and being monitored or being taught by someone who was a serial killer? It's just crazy. Why didn't she keep a low profile? Why did she volunteer at school? Why didn't she go and work at McDonald's or somewhere? But I suppose even there you'd bump into children, wouldn't you? But yeah. So he's got his life sentence. Most of his time has been in solitary. And he, you know, I've seen you know, that interview. I don't know if you watched the Serial Killer Sunday. Was it last weekend or the weekend before? With Russell, the pilot, who liked dressing up in Russell Williams, who liked dressing up in women's underwear. That guy that interviewed him, who did such a good job of, you know, interrogating him, he had interviewed Bernado as well. Now, there are some interviews floating about the internet that you can see him talking. You can tell he's got no remorse whatsoever. None, nada, zilch, nada. And the only time he's ever interested in speaking to the police, you know, speaking to the investigators, is what's in it for him. What can he get out of it? You know, he's not interested in any victims because they do think he's probably has committed more crimes. I think it's quite likely. 3 is not a lot, is it, really, for these sort of people? Though, if you add on to all his rapes and everything, I suppose it's a lot of crimes. So that is the Ken and Barbie killer. So we can see why they're called that. photos of him, and it just shows you, hi Desi, it just shows you that it was actually Ted Bundy who said that serial killers, they don't go out dribbling and, you know, like monsters going out in the night. They're normal people who live, you know, they walk amongst us like he was a normal person. He volunteered on a rape crisis helpline, you know. That's the sort of thing that they do while he was out. You know, we murdered many women. I mean, his victim count was huge, and we don't know everybody that he killed. I think, hi Jennifer, I think you know, one day I have done a video on Ted Bundy, but it was a long time ago when I did it, before, you know, really I started getting into the channel properly. And I think one day I may do another one about him, like a live about him, because I think he is a very sort of interesting, you know, character, if you like. He's had a lot of influence on criminal profiling, etc. Because unlike Bernado, Ted Bundy, once he did start talking, he talked and talked and talked. He was a confession killer in the sense he gave out so much information. He was actually very helpful to the FBI for profiling other killers, etc. Same as Edmund Kemper was. Some killers do that. Bernardo's not done that. He didn't want to. He doesn't want to talk unless he thinks he can get something out of it. But yeah, another handsome one. That's the well. Do you know, they almost have to be handsome because, well, he had Karla to help him get victims. But you know, if you as a woman and some sort of man comes up to you, like, who's I don't know, dirty, scruffy, a bit weird and whatever, there's no way you'd get into a car with him. I won't get into a car. I won't even get into a car with a taxi driver now. I won't get into a car with anyone unless I know him. And even then, I'm not so sure now. But with Ted Bundy, he would pass himself off as a policeman, and you know, as an off-duty. Ted Bundy tried to abduct one woman, one girl. She was the one that survived and could testify against him when he did finally come to court. He tried to abduct her. He said he was a policeman, flashed some police card, said he was a policeman. He'd seen somebody had been trying to break into a car, and she had to go down the station, make a statement. And she hummed and nod, and that was she did. She got in the car. Well, she wouldn't have got in the car with him. She did get suspicious in the end because, of course, he had that Beetle thing. They had like a Volkswagen Beetle, and she thought, oh, this doesn't seem like a police person's car. He was in plain clothes as well, and she could smell alcohol on his breath. So that was the, you know, the wake-up call for her. But she very near. She only got out that car. Because they did actually start driving off, and she said his face just changed completely. His eyes, and he had really handsome eyes, nice eyes. But apparently, if you could see photos of him, sometimes his eyes are very attractive, and then there's other times when they're dark, like almost black. You know, he's like two people. So, you know, what I'm saying, oh, yes, hit the like. Thank you, Princess Tippy Toes. Please hit the like. I get talking and I forget to say things. Yeah, so she was very lucky to escape with her life, but she did. She didn't. She felt guilty. She still feels guilty because what he did then was he went off somewhere else and picked up another girl and murdered her. So it's this victims blame themselves. You know, that's the guilt she felt, that because she escaped, some other poor girl died, but it wasn't her. It was him who did it. But victims quite often feel guilty, don't they? So. You do. You have to be vigilant. It doesn't matter how well dressed someone is. If you can't take that, I always think you've got to rely on your gut, and you just hope that your gut doesn't let you down. Because you know, at the end of the day, you've got to live. You've got to be around people. But if you get a bad vibe from someone, there's normally a reason for it, isn't there? So just be cautious. Yes, hit the button on the like on the way out. So, well, I hope you found that interesting, especially to those of you who have not heard of this case before. Unfortunately, there are so many, every time, well, there's this serial killer now, there's always another one, isn't there? So it's the sort of thing you never run out of stories, because there's always some serial killer or not, or family annihilator, or, these things. They'll never stop because it is, unfortunately, human nature. It's a funny thing. I think about it a lot, and I think sometimes, there's all the different motives, obviously, for killing people. These particular motives was pure, sadism, really, and sex, wasn't it? That's what it was about. It wasn't a money thing. It was all about that power, control, sadism, and sex. And then other people kill for money. You've got like your people who go on killing for insurance claims, and I would do one of those cases one day. People that men and women who literally, when they start looking back, they see that they've maybe bumped off 3 or 4 husbands or wives and claimed insurance. And it's amazing how people can get away with it. And I think, as especially in America, I think, or maybe anywhere, but because America is such a big country and people just move from state to state, don't they? And they move to a new state, nobody knows anything about them. They've not got any criminal history anyway, because whoever they've bumped off for the insurance, it'll be put down as an accidental death. So I'm very wary of death. Maybe that's why I'm so wary of this with Nicola's inquest, etc. Because experience tells me that unless it's clear, and I mean clear, and even sometimes when it's clear, it's not true. But with Nicola's death, of course, Nicola Bulley's death, wasn't clear at all. So I just don't get it at all. I just don't get it at all, because to me, I don't see where the evidence was that it was accidental death. But might not be like that forever. So, yeah. Anyway, so we'll be doing some Nicola videos, because I was trying to say bully and video at the same time. I've got some coming up. It will not be a load of made up stuff. Don't get me started on that. I've stopped even looking at titles of videos now, because sometimes I just think, oh, please, just give it a rest. There are some things that I want to talk about, but yeah. Oh, well, anyway, Charlie, I'm not commenting on it yet because I'm going to do a video on it. So I'm going to go, and thank you so much. I'm sorry that I was late. Well, I don't know if I was late, or you could say I was late, or you could say I was early. I thought I'd programmed it to start at 6. It started at 5. So who knows what that was about. Yeah. Okay, so I'll see you soon in the next video. Probably not tomorrow, unless something happens, but it won't be very long, I can assure you of that. Yeah, remember to always live and love very wisely. Yeah, exactly, Jackie. We don't know, do we? We don't know. But remember to always live and love very, very wisely. And I'll see you very soon in the next video. Thank you so much for your company, and thank you so much everyone who sent me nice messages and comments. And I just want to say again, if we could all say a little prayer again for Julie's dad, who's very poorly in Salford Hospital. Oh gosh, I don't know that. Well, she did. It was a public comment that she made, so I don't think it's a secret, because otherwise it wouldn't have been a public comment that she would have made. If we say some prayers, we can't change anything, but at least we can let her know that our thoughts are with her. And Yeah, so until I see you again, yeah, you all take care too. Until I see you again, may your gods all go with you too. Thank you, Tina. And yeah, listen back to it, Desi. Sorry you missed a lot. Was a bit, I don't know, the time. Okay, I'm going. I'm definitely going. So yeah, hit the like for me and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Yeah, prayers for Julie's dad. Night.